There's one other fingering technique, and that would be sliding the fingers. So there's different ways to do this. So the one way I do this is I roll my finger. Some people roll backwards, some people roll downwards, some people roll upwards. Some people will slide their finger off real slowly. I find the dexterity of this, the way the control I have with this tends to be the easiest. And what that sounds like is this. So that's another fingering technique. So from there we're going to go to breath techniques. So the breath from right now what we've been focusing on is the fingering techniques. It's all in here. We haven't really been paying attention much to the breath. It's just the constant breath that's been coming out. So when you start paying more attention to the breath, once you're pretty comfortable with your fingering, and you've got some of these techniques down, maybe not all of them. You can start playing with the breath right away, because the breath is, even just on one note, you can do a lot with the breath. So if I'm playing on one note, what I'm going to do here is just raise and lower my breath pressure. And it's a way of creating a lot of emotion in the song. So I can do real simple fingerings, but with the changing of breath pressure, I can really change the feel of the song. And actually what's happening is I'm getting some moisture buildup in here, and that's going to be a natural thing that's going to happen in everybody's flute as well. Is when you're blowing into it, there's moisture going into it. It's going to build up in the inside here where the sound is made. So what you want to do is we just blow it out basically. But instead of just blowing in, it'll make a real squeak sound if we just blow real hard. So I tend to put my finger right here to make it so that no sound is happening. This is where the sound of the flute occurs, is in this square hole. So if you put your finger right there, it won't make it so it doesn't happen. You just give it a couple really strong blows, maybe wipe off the moisture, and you notice it'll sound different. And that's just using my breath. It's a real simple fingering, but with the breath it creates a lot more feeling to the song. The other technique is the tonguing technique. And you can use the word ta. And the word ta is, you don't actually use the vocal part of it, but you use the feeling, the movement that the word ta creates. And what it's the back of the tongue hits the back of the teeth. Ta 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 ta, and it stops the air. It starts and stops it real quick and real definite. And what that sounds like is, and this is how we create rhythm. This is how you're going to put motion and fluidity into your song. You can use tonguing, which gives a lot of motion and rhythm, or you can leave it out and it gives more of a fluid feel. So this will be like an idea of tonguing. What it feels like is this. I can put some rhythm into this. Where if I do something without tonguing, it sounds more like this. So what's happening there is the wind is blowing in as the evening's coming, and it's taking the voice of the flute. It's blowing across this edge where the voice comes out, and it's taking the breath that I'm blowing into it and moving it to the side. So if that's happening, sometimes you can move away from the wind, turn your back to it. You can try different angles, and you can often get away from the wind so it'll still play. So that's going to sound, so back to this is without tonguing. It's a lot more of a fluid sound to it. And the combination of the two tends to be how I play. And it just comes naturally. Over time, the feeling of when to tongue and when not to will just happen. And the combination will sound. So the flute is, again, it's a really easy instrument to learn to play. All these techniques, they're guidelines. They're not necessarily rules. Actually, it's really fun to go outside of these rules to find your own techniques. And it's really important to, I feel like it's really important to play the flute and not practice. Practicing can often feel overwhelming, and playing is often really fun. So just remember to have fun and play a lot.